the plane of the head should be flat with the table. So the plane of the head should be 90 degrees to the glass in order to adjust the angle, because this machine is capable of doing shape beveling, so it can tilt the whole head back on an angle. To make sure it's straight, you have to loosen these off and release this, and then on this side this has to be in the upright position so that the plane is perfectly straight. This will help you tip the whole head along this slide here. It'll allow it to roll down to go more back on an angle, or to come more in line for doing just regular edging. So you use this to help lift or swing down the head, and you use this side here to lock it in place. You have to tighten these bolts and also snug this up. To tip the head this way or this way on this angle, you have to loosen this bolt and loosen this bolt, then physically grab this head. This plate here will shift one way or the other. Once you've got it shifted where you want it, in this case we've got it perfectly flush for just doing regular edging, then you lock these bolts back in place. To set up to do a circle, the first thing you have to do is you have to rotate the arm on the machine so that this arm here lines up with this bracket, so that you can attach the bracket to the machine. That's the first step. To do a circle, first you need to position your circle on the center of your platter. You should have an X. Once it's positioned, reference it from the air hose, then clamp on. Right now this is not moving. The glass is roughly in the middle. But this is not the ideal way to do it. You really should reference it and center it. Then you need to make sure that your arm is locked into position. It should be locked, having this clamp bolted to the base of the machine, thus locking your arm in position. The next thing you need to do for doing a standard circle is you need to make sure that the wheel, whether you're polishing or using a diamond to do the edging, is actually in the center of the glass. So if you can focus and make sure it's centered right in the middle of the glass. Now a good way to do that quickly is, I'll show you here, if you mark the wheel with the reference, in this case it's right at 0. So that centers this wheel with that piece of glass, because that's a piece of 6mm and this is my 6mm polishing wheel. So I wrote 0 on this wheel with a permanent marker. If it's a different thickness of glass or a different type of wheel, where to center it, it needs to be slightly, the whole head needs to be higher or lower, then this would be +1 or +10mm. This would be +20mm. That's +5. This is -5. This is -10, etc. So once you know exactly where the center is, and you can adjust it using this hand wheel, and you can see here, if I turn it clockwise, then the wheel comes up off center. You see? If I turn it counterclockwise, then the wheel will go down below 0. And so now we're going to be minus. So that's -1mm, That's minus 2 millimeters, etc. And once I know the position of the center of that wheel, I just have to mark the position. So that would be minus 2, and I would mark it on the wheel. In this case, I've marked 0 on the wheel, and therefore I'm going to bring this up to position 0, and then I'm going to again check it to make sure that it's exactly in the center of the profile of that wheel, that the glass rides right in the center for that thickness. And that's how you adjust the height of the wheel. The next thing you need to do is you need to make sure that this head always stays square to the glass. So to do that, because you don't want it turning this way or this way, you're going to lock this head in square by locking the head using this lever. Now the head will not move. So if this comes out, the head stays in the same position. If it comes in, it's going to stay in the same position. So we're going to polish this piece of glass in automatic mode. Ideally, we'd have another bar here, which I'm currently missing, which would allow us to secure this arm better. I'm going to try it just using the pressure of the air cylinder, which feeds off the compressed arm and is controlled using this toggle. So once I get around to the other side of the machine, I'm going to toggle this in or out. Right now, we don't have any, okay, we have very little compressed air. You can see it's moving slightly. But if I toggle it out, and I increase here the pressure on the air regulator, right now I've got 0 pressure basically coming in from the compressor in the factory. I increase that pressure slightly, you'll see that arm starting to come out. I'm going to send more air to it. Oh, actually it's toggling in. So it's reversed. So what I need to do is I need to reverse the airline. I'm going to turn the pressure back off here. And I'm going to switch these 2 airlines. I'm going to switch these 2 airlines from the valve, and I'm going to reverse them. So I'm going to pop this one out, and I'm going to reverse them so that it makes more sense. I'm going to put this one here and I'm going to put this one here so that when I toggle back it means out, and when I toggle in it means in. Okay, so now if I increase the pressure again with the switch in the in position, you should see the head start to pull in. You see it's starting to pull in automatically now. And I can hold it with my arm so it doesn't bounce off the glass. With the compressed air reading at least 0.2, somewhere between 0.2 and 0.4 to get enough pull on the air cylinder. Again, this is the air cylinder which pulls this arm in to the glass. And I can toggle it out. I have to hold it, you can see, or in. Out or in. You can bring the glass in, the wheel in, till it's just touching the glass. Now you can feel it, you can pull. You pull, there's a fair bit of pressure there, so it's pushing against this glass edge. Now I've got it lined up so that it's right in the center of the wheel. Okay, and hopefully you can see that. And I've got my water off. I've got this in, so that's pulling the head in. I've got my glass centered. And now I'm going to turn my water on first.